What's up, my Beardos and Weirdos? Today we're taking a look at r/ProRevenge, the most popular video series on this channel. Right before we dive right in, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. Did you notice that we've almost hit 700 subscribers? That's crazy. But I will keep making these because they're a heck of a lot of fun. Alright, we've got two stories to go through today. The first one is about a high school bully that takes on the wrong guy. The next story is about a boss who won't pay his employee, so his employee burns the business to the ground. Alright, let's dive right in. High school bully gets beaten up by gym teacher of our school. Hello everyone. Excuse me for my potential format and spelling mistakes as I am typing via my phone. 6 to 7 years ago, when I was in high school, I was transferred to a new school. My first school was more open-minded in ideology and people were free to interact with anyone as they want, as long as it did not create inappropriate encounters. Example, assault, sexuality, etc. My new school, however, was populated by people whom had conservative parents and teachers. Nothing was explicitly banned, but in the community, male and female students would not interact. It was frowned upon. No one could have enforced this due to laws, but the peer pressure was real. To the point, you could imagine that I was the odd one out there. I was accustomed to normal human relations, so I was interacting with females and everyone else equally, raising eyebrows between students, especially in male population. Funny enough, females were apparently thinking I was hitting on them. While these casual days passed, there was this guy who was 100 kilograms, 220 pounds, and he was around 190 centimeters in height. I will call this guy as Brian. I am a rather smaller male, and back then I was 155 to 160 centimeters with a mass of 52 to 55 kilograms. He was constantly verbally abusing me and bullying me, but with his lack of confidence and my ignorance towards his bullyings, and him seeing his efforts were futile, turned his aggression to physical. One day we were at the gym class. We were playing basketball and Brian was in the rival team. Even though my height was not long, I was a nice guard, and interesting enough, I had the highest rebound rate among my friends. That day I wanted to rebound the ball from the dunk, but Brian apparently wanted to do the same. The dunk was at a height of 250 centimeters, so he did not really need to jump to get the ball. But he did. He jumped towards my ribs, with his knee bent towards upwards. Those who play or watch basketball will realize the gravity of the situation. He could have killed me. My rib was broken on spot, but gladly it did not pierce my lung. I fell on the ground, unable to breathe, and it took a solid 5 minutes until my gym teacher realized that I was actually injured. Medical examination showed no big issues. I had been lucky. My gym teacher was a nice person. He was also a professional kickboxer. He actually had the second place in our national league. He knew that Brian had done this on purpose, though one cannot prove that. His verbal bullying never ended. He restrained himself from going physical in fear of attracting further attention. He was not liked by other students too, and he certainly did not want to be taken on by 10 to 12 students at once. By this time, my gym teacher was asking me if Brian was irritating me. I always said that it was under control. I did not want things to escalate. Not because of me. Some time passed, but my anger was not diminished. I had no chance to take on the guy, but I certainly could have created the circumstances. One day, in our English class, our teacher wanted us to play Scrabble. That game designed by Satan, forged in the flames of hell, and created by Hasbro. TM. Only to show the world that eviler things than Monopoly could exist. A little information here. I was the only one who knew English in our class. My old school had done a pretty good job teaching us, and I had a B2 certificate from Cambridge, while all my new classmates were trying to take A2 level. Our teacher left the class for 5 minutes. This Brian made up a word in Scrabble and tried to pass it to us. English did not have such a word, so I corrected him. He got furious. He hit the board and the letters and got up. "I don't want to play," he said. Having to deal with around 100 plus letter keys all over the ground, I whispered, "Who is going to scrape the ground, you son of a bitch?" I took that risk because I knew our gym teacher was patrolling our level, the 3rd floor, for the day. When I whispered him, he got out of control. He went full beast mode. He grabbed me from my collar, only to punch me. I did nothing in self-defense as it was futile. I waited for that split second only to have our 280 pounds gym teacher to burst in and escort Brian out. For 2 hours, Brian was nowhere to be found. He appeared with a black eye, bursted lip, and probably dislocated jaw. He was unable to speak properly, so his family was called to the school to take him to the hospital. Good news, his jaw was fine. His pride, however, not so much. Apparently, the teacher told the school that Brian tried to attack him out of fury, and Brian called his mother unpleasant things. Brian's family was not pissed to the teacher, they were pissed to Brian. In my country, in such a conservative environment, teachers own you. Your ash belongs to them, thus their word is pre-approven. Evidently, he got beaten to the pulp by his father, whom was equally abusive as Brian. Looking back, poor Brian was the victim here. I wish he had given me, or us, the chance to help him. His pensions were cut, his phone was confiscated by his father, so was his PC and his MP3/headphones. Anything you could imagine. He came 1 week later. He had lost his appetite in bullying. He apologized, I apologized. For all I know, peace is only possible if you are the winning side. TLDR, school bully gets physical, gets his ass whooped by professional boxer, and gets grounded for a long time. I appreciate the comments on this story. Especially that first one. Wow, everyone in the story sounds like a piece of shiz. And then the one after that, everyone sucks here. I think it's unfortunate that bullying occurs. I do think that it is most common in these circumstances where they're trying to work out something that they're experiencing personally, and they don't have the tools necessary to deal with it appropriately. Good story. Gonna call some r/that happen here. I find it very unlikely that the teacher beat up a student at your age. Good job documenting it, OP, but I don't think that you're in the right here. Boss wouldn't pay me the money I earned, so I had his company shut down. And other few moments. Last year I started working for a local plumbing company that seemed promising. Would pay top dollar to employees for good old-fashioned labor. So I signed my W-2 and went on my way. Seems legit, right? I started out making an hourly wage, was given my own work van, and was offered a work cell phone. However, if you used your personal cell phone, the owner of the company would pay your bill because you're using your own phone. How neat is that? Fast forward a month or two, I was forced to make commission based off of every job, and I didn't have a say in this. But 20% of every job you go to? Hell, that's a lot of money in plumbing. So I was none the wiser. Eventually I found out that my paychecks weren't having any taxes taken out of them, so I asked my boss, "Why am I not having taxes taken out of my check?" To which he replied, "When we switch to commission, you're a subcontractor now. You're 1099. You're gonna be making so much bank now, bro." Didn't sign a 1099 form, but okay. As the time went on, I started working 90-hour weeks with no break. If my phone was turned off, and the office folk tried to reach me and couldn't, they would take money out of my paycheck. The phone bill? Never got paid. There would be days where I wouldn't make a single dime because the boss would mess something up in our system. We also had no heat in our vans, and when it got to -14 outside, his words to us were, "Go buy a fuse and blanket. I can't afford repairs like this right now." While he is in Florida on a cruise with his whole family. So like anyone else, I just up and quit. Fuse that. When I left, I asked for my checks. I was owed 3 of them for weeks I worked. But my boss wasn't ready to give them up yet. "You fused me over, and now I'm going to fuse you over," he said when I asked why he wasn't going to pay me. I offered multiple times for him to just meet me, so this wouldn't have to go any further. He refused. I took to r/legal advice, bless them, and asked what I should do. The responses led me to LARA, Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, to file a wage claim to get my money. But on top of that, I filed a report with them stating the company doesn't pull permits, which is required to do when replacing people's plumbing. So they sent over an investigator to check these claims out. I then went to the IRS to find out about this whole tax ordeal. I filed the proper paperwork to have the IRS check and see if I was misclassified as a 1099 when I should have been a W-2 employee since they weren't taking taxes out. Sure as shiz, I was wrongfully not getting taxes taken out of my checks, so the IRS sent an investigator of their own. Now at this point, I see on my phone that I still have their email address linked to my Google account. So I do some snooping. It turns out they haven't paid city taxes in over 6 years, and that the office manager, a woman who has verbally abused me time and time again, collects disability through the state but still collects a $1.5K paycheck from the company every week. You can bet Ash I sent that in with the IRS. Screenshots included my email. This is how it all unfolded. I have a friend that still works, or rather worked for them at the time, and he told me about the investigators coming in. Lara fined them upwards of $50,000 for failing to produce the proper permits for work that was performed. They also paid me what the company owed me with interest since I waited over a month for those checks. On top of all this, the IRS made them pay for my taxes at the end of the year, took away the manager's disability, audited them because they hadn't paid city taxes, and fined them for each employee they did this to. At this time as well, all of his fleet vans broke due to wear and tear. This resulted in the company closing. When he asked me why I did all of this, my response was simply, "You fused me over, so I fused you over." Ugh. It's so rewarding reading stories about someone getting back at their old boss, but in so many of these stories you read, the old employees get the company shut down, they get fines placed against the owner, they get some sort of retribution that way, but they don't get their money. This story is some pro-revenge. That is fantastic. Oh, that's amazing. Not only did you get justice for yourself and for every other worker there, but you also got paid what you were owed at the end of the day. That's amazing. The only thing I thought of when I was reading that I think you missed out on was getting paid back for your cell phone bill. I think that could have been sent in as part of your claim to the IRS, or perhaps to Lara, those folks over there. Good for you, OP. Great story. Hope to read something else from you in the future, or I hope not to read something else from you in the future, because it looks like you got some good karma coming your way. Anyways, great work, OP. Alright, my Beardos and Weirdos, that was r/ProRevenge. And I have to say, the first story, while it may have been some r/that happened, the second story was definitely worth making this video for. Even if I just did it with that story alone, that was fantastic. Good on you, OP. And thank you to everyone who's been joining in for this video series. It's been awesome. The pro-revenge stories have been super cathartic to go through, and I've really enjoyed sharing these moments with you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you found a story that you'd like me to read out, or if you have one of your own. I have noticed a lot of the comments coming in, and even the trolls, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for even poking fun at me for some of the videos. Thanks for that. Hope to see you in the next ones. Alright, my Beardos and Weirdos, we'll see you in the next video, where we take it one topic at a time.